Moss.
Hello, Wendy Stuart. How are you?
I am just fabulous today, even though it is so cold. I think
Right.
the daffodils are jumping back into the ground. What is going on?
All the buds on the trees are shriveling back up.
They're like, no, we want to go back. But hello, everybody. Welcome to If These Walls Could Talk. I'm Wendy Stuart.
I'm Tym Moss.
And we are here for your viewing pleasure.
Yes.
Today. Tim, I am so excited because this Saturday is Night of 1,000 Gowns with the Imperial Court of New York. And we are going to be at a venue in Queens this year called Terrace on the Park. Very beautiful venue, left over, believe it or not, from the World's Fair, which I wonder if I'll if it'll even look remotely familiar to me. The World's Fair was like 60 years ago or something?
Yeah, probably.
Oh my God. What if I'm triggered? What if I have a flashback of the World's Fair, But yeah, we have really great.
That's a great venue. I've been out there before.
It's beautiful, right? And Dorothy Bishop, of course, our own Dorothy Bishop is one of our performers, as well as the Bad Judies and a host of other performers. Yeah, it'll be totally fun. You didn't go to the Easter parade, Tim, did you? Because I didn't find you.
No, I did not. After last week we had this incredible event called For Project Transcend. Yes. We had the opening night and the mayor was there and it was an incredible evening and all that. But I had been working on that for quite a long time. And immediately following, I was down for the count. I don't know if it was exhaustion, if it was cold, if it was what it was. But by Sunday, I was planning on going, but then I heard it was going to rain, and I was like, I can't go out because my voice was really messed up.
No, and there were a lot of people that canceled. But then there was everyone else who showed.
But I wanted to because I love the Easter parade.
In spite of the rain, the costumes, they were even way more over the top this year than any year I can remember, and I'm there every year. Yeah, it was just a great New York event. You know what? It started to rain, and we were still out there in our costumes. The Chihuahua group left because there's nothing worse than a wet Chihuahua and a cop. But yeah, it was like really, really a fun time. And I went to Jackson Sturkey, our amazing friend Jackson Sturkey is in a show at the Wild Project called XOXO. And they are going to be this weekend. And I think Friday night too, I encourage people, go on the Wild Project's page. Jackson and the women he is in this show with, they are just phenomenal. He's the only guy in a bevy of most gorgeous. They were all incredible women, amazing dancers. I'm telling you something, Tim. Normally when I sit in those seats, my joints hurt me because you're squished. I took by osmosis their agility and dance movements into my own body. And it's true because you watch them and you're just so inspired. And when I got up, like nothing hurt. So that's kind of a good show.
Well, I'm going to see his show on Friday.
You're going this Friday, right?
I was originally scheduled for Saturday show, but I'm going on Friday. I'm meeting Ike Cavelli and I are going to go on Friday.
Right. And that's great. I think Ike mentioned to me that you guys are you're absolutely going to love it. Your joints will feel loose as a goose too when you go. Last night was Machine Dazzle at Joe's Pub. An amazing performer. I only knew Machine from costuming and dancing on stage at Night of 1,000 Stevies. What an incredible band, singer, and talk about performance art. I cannot even describe the costume that Machine Dazzle was wearing. Let's just say it dazzled. And then he did something so obscene with a Twinkie. I'm not going to share that. It was a Twinkie and a guillotine. Okay. Use your imagination. Anyway, yeah, it's been good. You know what? We're in springtime. We're back in New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Springtime in New York. Yes. So speaking of springtime in New York and tiptoeing through the tulips, oh my God, today we have everyone's favorite Boozy Shantuzzi. Certainly mine and Tim's and a host of other people. She has character-driven performances and a classic Hollywood-inspired persona. I would totally agree with that. She's an amazing performer and a dear, dear friend of ours. Let us bring to the virtual stage, Margoh Channing.
Hi, kids.
Hi.
Hey. Oh my God, my favorites. How are you, my loves?
You're still
Good.
doing
How
your
are
makeup. I
you?
love it. Nothing like leaving it to the 11th hour. You must feel really comfortable with Tim and I.
You look gorgeous.
Oh yes. I mean, I would strip down naked for used to any.
Oh,
you have.
Bring back my sexploitation days, kids.
Yes, that's right. Well, speaking of sexploitation, I know you've got a show coming up April 18th at Pangea at 7 p.m. Will people be able to? Yeah, we'll all be there. So
Yay, cheers. You better sit up front and not throw popcorn.
Oh, really? What's going to happen if we sit up front? Are you going to show us some sexploitation, Margoh Channing?
I have a water gun. No, I don't. Actually, I have this. So you'll see this.
Wait, I have to see what you have.
I have this.
I love that. Look at that, Margoh. Wow.
I did this during pandemic, during Bianca Del Rio's sewing sessions, so these are the type of things I'll have at my show. There's going to be a lot of props. So,
all right.
Can you sew up some of those maybe as some merch? That would make great merch, a little scrotum purse.
Yes, it is. It could be a one-off earring.
Yep.
It could be a necklace.
Yes.
It could be
a tie.
A bikini.
A tie. I like Tim. I love the
tie. Yes.
Tie, right?
So these are the type of crazy things Margo's going to have at that show.
I love it.
As always, I love my props and I love my paintings. My quarantine paintings are always.
Let me see. Get to see these.
Yes, my stick figure thing. So all these. Come to a Margoh show. It's very educational.
Well, and I have to say, you brought up quarantine. You were so fabulous with the show that you did.
Oh God, yes.
Honestly, there was so much to watch during quarantine because everyone we know was doing a show. I always made sure, and I know Tim did too, to tune into your show. If there was something,
was it Drinks with Margoh? Was that what it was?
What was it?
Yeah, it was just the Margoh Channing cocktail hour.
Yeah.
And sometimes it ran 2 hours, 3 hours. I don't even know.
Margoh, it was so great, and I would sit there with a bottle. The pandemic really emotionally hit me. It was just something I still can't wrap my head around. Mm-hmm. And seeing you there with your jokes, and then you go sing a song, and then you'd come back, and I'd have a bottle of wine. I would go through half a bottle of wine. It was the closest I could get to being at a bar with you in person, and it was really very uplifting. And the comments, we would all talk to each other in the comments through you. So I don't think you even know how much you gave to people during the pandemic.
Yeah, that was so much fun. And it was just like one thing where one night I just decided to do it. I was like bored. I'm like, let me do some makeup. And like everybody.
I love it.
It was right after I came down to do your birthday show. And
right.
Then I got back. Right. That was the last thing I did in New York was I moved back to Rhode Island. And then I was asked by Nick Lyon to come do your show.
Oh, the amazing Nick Lyon.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Nick today. And then and I'm talking about Nick the night of my show as well. Anyway, because actually I'm going to save Nick a little seat. I'm going to put a sign on his seat.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that for all of us.
You'll love that.
Yeah, and because I think this will be like the first show that I've ever done, and Nick's not going to be there.
Yeah.
So anyway, but don't let me get off track. But yeah, so one night so I got back from New York, and that Monday we shut down. So I think I was down in New York on that Sunday, and then we shut down that Monday. And then I think like 2 weeks later, one night I just decided, I'm like, let me. Oh, you know what it was? I was going to run for Miss Gay Rhode Island. That was going on at the same time, and I had been going to the Pride office because Pride sponsored that pageant at the time. And so I started going there. They said, if you want to run for Miss Gay Rhode Island, go up, so I had been meeting everybody and said, I'm just running for fun. I'm like, I doubt I'm, going to win type of thing. And I was just like, but I just want to get involved. And then, so I started doing that. And then COVID hit and they turned that whole thing into a food drive at the time. So then I started driving for Pride and doing food deliveries and stuff. So that's why that's when one night I'm like, let me throw on some makeup and see if I could raise some money. And that's eventually, but it's so funny. Like I went on that first night and tons of people came on, and then I didn't have any sound or anything that first night. And then my friend Michael at the time was like, "Oh, I have the sound system. You need a microphone." And then the next time I added the microphone, and I added everything, but me. And that was actually what people loved about it so much. I think my friends and stuff would tell me, they'd be like, "Margoh, the funniest thing is like you not being able to deal with technology." It's like,
right.
There'd always be some problem. And then I tried to do SteamYard and all these different things. But so I ended up, I think I raised about like $4,700 for charity during that like year or 8 months.
Well, your podcast that you did online, every week you had, I know like Sue Shanna donated, our amazing designer friend donated dog accessories or something. The fact that you not only did this incredible podcast, you were hilariously funny, drunk out of your face, we would expect nothing less, but there you were raising money. And you know what? It just shows the kind of commitment that you have as a person.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think like, a lot of people don't know this. And so when I started doing drag, and, I started out doing drag on Halloween, like, a lot of kids do. And, and I ended up winning like a best drag Halloween contest in like 91 or 92 or something like that. And then, so then I was like, oh, maybe this is something I can do. And then I ran for Miss Gay Rhode Island, which was established to raise money for AIDS at the time, because nobody was doing anything. The government wasn't doing anything to help us. And my friends were dying. And I had two of my best friends. One was a drag queen. One was a trans individual that both passed away within like 6 months of each other. So I started doing drag for that reason. I didn't like the first 5-6 years of drag, I didn't really make any money. I was just doing it for that reason. And I was part of the Imperial Court back then as well, and all that stuff. And Rhode Island Imperial Court, which I think their coronation is at the end of the month. April.
It is coming up the end of the month.
End of April. And so they're still going strong. And I just so that's just kind of how I came about, and then everything else just I just kept going, and I never really had a plan or anything. I just kept going and doing what I was doing. I mean, I knew I loved to make people laugh, so that was the core of it. But and I like to bab, but I started out doing drag. And I started out doing Judy Garland and Liza Minnelli tribute shows, and that's what I did. So that's how I ran for Miss Gay Rhode Island. I came in second runner-up. I didn't even win, but when I walked off the stage that night, one of the club promoters came up to me and he said, "You're like Judy Garland in Technicolor." You know what I mean? He's like,
"I love it. What a great compliment."
He's like, "Would you like to do your own show?" And I was like, "Oh shit, yeah!" So I didn't even win, and I got my own show. Like,
nice.
Yeah. So at 69 Union Street Station by Mother Quinn was Mother Quinn was the owner or the manager, and he's the one that booked me. And then I ended up doing like several shows there over the years, and then. Led to Boston, and then I started traveling around a little bit doing Judy and New England and Pennsylvania, and so it just snowballed, and I just started.
It just snowballed. That's what we call the things that happen in the very beginning, right, of someone's career.
Where are you from originally, Matt?
I'm from Connecticut. I'm from a small town in Ansonia, Connecticut, which is famous for one thing, and that's football. And
how butch.
Did you?
I went to how I ended up in Rhode Island was I went to Johnson & Wales University for culinary and hotel restaurant management. So that's how so my mother dropped me off when I was 18 years old at St. Xavier Hall in downtown Providence, and within about 4 days I was at a gay bar. I'm not kidding you. I was at the Yukon Trading Post within about 4 days. I was in, and not to brag or anything, but I think within the first 48 hours I was there, I had sex with an RA.
Oh my God.
I was really good looking. I have to admit, when I
You
was
didn't waste any time. Were you hoping to get perks though, because it was an RA? Like,
no, I don't know. He just came up to
He was
me and then
cute.
like, it was just like, I don't know. So he's the one that took me to the Yukon Trading Post. So I came out really fast at college. And plus
Sounds
it was
that
like,
way.
a culinary and, hotel restaurant management school. Everyone was freaking gay.
I was
Yeah.
going to say that's
So it was just
When you were in Connecticut growing up, did you weren't out?
No, I wasn't. No.
Uh-huh.
So actually, I touched about. I actually, for the first time in the show, Oversharing, I talked about it some in a show I did about Judy years ago, but I actually am going to talk about what my life was like, growing up. It's not long; it's a brief section of the show, but it just and I'm dedicating a song to all those kids out there that feel lonely and trapped and
love it.
and realize that they're growing up in a family that they may not necessarily fit in with, and so that's kind of what I touch on in this show.
But you kind of knew you weren't like the other boys, and
I just knew I was different. Like
same here.
I still to this day, when I think about it, I can't pinpoint it, but I just know that I was like, I felt like weird, I just felt like I didn't have any, like a lot of friends. I had like all my friends like in the neighborhood were girls, and I didn't have any like male friends, and my siblings were like older than me. They were like 5 and 6 years older than me.
You were the baby.
I was the baby. And so I just spent a lot of time in my family room listening to music. That was the one great thing that my parents gave us was their love of music. They had a huge record collection, and there was always music playing in the house. So that kind of became my like kind of refuge. And I became obsessed with Casey Kasem's American Top 40.
Oh my God, Casey Kasem. Now we're scrolling down memory lane.
I used to have I had notebooks where I would sit, just lay down on the floor and write down all like the top 40 every week. What I was keeping those records for, I have no idea. But anyway, so that's how and then it turned into me just like standing there belting out my divas, and I loved all my divas: Donna Summer, Olivia Newton-John, all my it was all 70s.
You honed your craft, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Like Olivia, Donna, oh God, there were so many.
Barbara.
I love Debbie Harry. I love.
Oh yeah.
But back then in the 70s, early 80s, my ultimate though was Pat Benatar. I loved Pat Benatar.
Yeah.
I used to.
Powerful.
I slept out 2 times in New Haven, Connecticut, on the green to buy tickets for Pat Benatar back in the day. But so that's just kind of how I talk about in the show, Oversharing. I do talk about how I feel like if it weren't for music and the movie, which I watched last night with my boyfriend Dan, he wanted to watch it because I told him, I said what told me I was a homosexual was the movie Making Love.
Oh yes.
With Harry.
Wow. You saw it last night again. Wow.
With Harry Hamlin and Michael Arnkein and Kate Jackson. And it just happens to be the Charlie's Angels 50th anniversary. But honestly, for me, I watched that movie on HBO when it came out on HBO, and I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm gay. Or I'm whatever. I don't even think they mentioned the word gay in that.
Right.
I don't even know if they did.
Same here.
They just, alluded and all this stuff. And I remember thinking, laying there watching and going, oh my God. Okay. That's what I am.
So Margoh,
and I was like, oh, and there's people that, are okay with it. Or they
was it Kate Jackson that brought out the gay in you?
What's that? Sorry.
Was it Kate Jackson that brought out the gay in you? You won't be the first.
No, it was Harry Hamlin. Oh God, I thought Harry Hamlin was so beautiful.
Oh, he's so beautiful.
Right. We watched it last night. We watched beautiful. It, but it's so funny. It's on YouTube. The quality's terrible because you can't find it anywhere right now. But it's not streaming or anything. But the quality's terrible. And I told Dan, I'm like, oh, I'm like, this isn't great because you can't really see his face that well. But I'm like, Harry Hamlin was like so beautiful.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. And so that's kind of what made me realize I was gay, was that movie. Like, besides like dreaming about men, when I would have dreams when I
that's a dead giveaway, Margoh, you know.
Yeah, I'd have dreams about it, but like when I saw it was like light bulbs going, I was like, oh, okay, that's
right. Because the thing is, we didn't have icons, gay icons. We didn't have a center. We didn't have role models. We didn't have guides or mentors, or we had to discover it all on our own and try to figure it out.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's funny now when you look back, I was very drawn to anybody that was like, like I remember being drawn to Paul Lynde, and loved him on like, all the TV, on the game shows and everything. And then I was very drawn to Charles Nelson Riley. On Match Game. I'd be like, so I always, or like Rip Taylor was another one.
Yeah, all the icons, all the gay icons.
Yeah, and I loved, and Waylon Flowers and Madam I was drawn to, so like so
they were the fun ones.
Yeah, those were, but I mean, it was like, but I remember thinking to myself, okay, these guys, and when I realized I was gay and stuff, I was like, okay, these guys are obviously gay, and my grandparents are sitting here laughing and watching it.
Yeah, right.
And enjoying it. So I'm like, I remember being totally just confused. Like, okay, we go to church on Sundays and I'm an altar boy, but then we, watch these shows, or, and it's like, so that's kind of what I touch on in the show, oversharing about how confusing it was to live in the 70s.
I've heard that from a lot. I've interviewed a lot of people with Catholic backgrounds, right? And it is very, very confusing for them. And some, I know you've resolved a lot of things. I don't know what's unresolved. You resolved a lot of the Catholic thing, but I have talked to people that in our age group where the Catholic thing is still not resolved. They carry them through their entire lives. It's powerful, right? It's a powerful thing.
I don't know, but I mean, it's resolved for me is that because I've just, I've become an adult and I've gotten older, I've just become more and more of an atheist. Like, I just am like, come on, like, I'm supposed to believe that, I'm supposed to believe Noah's Ark is real, but I'm not supposed to believe that Donald Trump is a pedophile. Like, I don't
right.
How do these two things not coincide? Like, okay, so yeah, you want me to believe that, or like, some woman rode a donkey 40 days, or, or like, I'm sorry. I remember sitting in, because like we were Catholic. I was, listen, I love my mom. I love my family. My aunt was a Catholic school teacher for 40 years. She still goes and does lunch. She's retired now, but she still goes and does lunch at the Assumption School in Ansonia. Listen, I love my family. I do. But there's some things I just, I have a problem with as an adult, and that is that you're not, like I was taught to be a certain way. And that was, as far as I was concerned, I was taught to live and let live. That's what my grandmother used to say to me. That is the way that I was raised. So that to me leans towards a democratic thought process. But for some reason, some people, I don't know, look at that as a different way, because I think they're afraid of losing their traditions and their but nobody's telling you you don't have to lose your traditions, but you also don't have the right to tell other people how to live just because some guy got, nailed to a cross 2 million years ago. I don't know. It's a hard thing,
but so many people now think that live and let live, as long as you're living exactly like I want you to.
Right. That's exactly as they tell you to live, and then you're okay. Yeah.
Right. And that's not even, I don't know. I like a lot of this stuff wasn't a worry for me 10 years ago, like 15 years ago, but now it's a worry. It's like, wow, I remember the worry was like in the 90s, staying alive, and not getting sick, and that type of thing. And then things got better. And then I didn't even, I've had 2 great relationships. I was married, to my ex, like for a long time. And, we had a great life together. And didn't have those worries, but now, and I felt like, oh, we did what we set out to do when I was younger, but now I feel like, wow, like, we got set back like 20 years or something, or,
right.
It's just like, it's really maddening. And I mean, honestly, like, it's not the best time for me to not being able to drink as much anymore.
Right.
You would if you could in these times. So you guys, I'm just curious, Tim. I just wanted to ask you and Margoh how the two of you met, because Margoh was a new friend for me. I met Margoh the night of your opening of your film Junk.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know Margoh till that, and then Ryan spearheaded that whole get together that night.
I think it wasn't at the Glam Awards one year, and then I asked if I could interview you.
Yeah, I think
they called it the Glammies. They used to call it the Glammies.
Yeah, the Glammy
and then
Awards,
the Grammys actually like gave a cease and desist that she can't say Glammies anymore. So she changed it to the Glam Awards.
Yeah, it used to be the Glammies. Yeah, I think that's how we first met. And then when I first so I was in Rhode Island, then Jeff and I moved to, or Manny Champagne and I moved to New York in 2003. So the first thing I did was I did a MNN 30-minute like show.
Oh, that's right.
Margoh Channing show on MNN, which my goal was to interview drag queens and stuff, but we shot it out of our apartment, and I ended up having I think I did like 22 episodes. It was on for like 2 years. We had Michael Musto on, we had Linda Simpson on, we had Nellie Mackay on, we had Chris Rail on, we had Penny Arcade on, we had
love it.
We had Adam Dugas on. We had a ton of people on. We had Sweetie on, I think.
Love it.
So then we did that, and then that's what turned us into doing the live cabaret show. So I started a variety hour called the Margoh Channing Variety Hour, and then
of course.
So that's so I dumped doing the MNN show, and then I started doing that, and that's when I probably met Tim, was because I started going out to the clubs more and getting involved, and I started writing for Fairth, Brian Mills. I don't know if you guys know
Brian. I remember Brian. Yeah,
I started writing like birthday tributes to the divas for him, like on Fairth, and then I did interviews like I did an interview with Lady Bunny. I did an interview with Frank DeCaro.
I love Frank.
I started doing like reviews. I reviewed like a Bette Midler show. I reviewed for him. I did some reviews, and then books. I was doing all sorts of stuff for him, and that's kind of that's how the whole cabaret thing started. And then I think that's when I met Tim, and then I met Ike. I can't remember how I met Ike.
I think I brought Ike to your show.
Yeah, probably.
With Ronnie.
Yeah, with Ronnie Giles.
Yeah.
So it was, we met doing the cabaret circuit. I think that's probably how we met.
Yeah.
Cool.
Speaking of cabaret, you've got your show coming up on April 18th at 7 o'clock, which is Saturday night. And I believe we have a cut from one of your songs, which is
Shiver Me Timbers. Shiver Me Timbers.
But it's a staple in your shows, which is Shiver Me Timbers.
I'm leaving my family. I'm leaving all my friends. My body's at home, but my heart's in the wind. And the clouds are like headlines on a new front page sky. My tears are salt water. The moon's falling high, and I know Joe Conrad will be proud of me. Many before been called by the sun to be let's all sail away. And the fog's lifting, the sand shifting. I'm drifting on out. Oh, Captain Air's got nothing on me. So swallow me, don't follow me. I'm traveling alone. The water's my daughter. I skip like the stone, and the fog's lifting, the sand shifts. Kids are drifting on out. Oh, Captain Air, got nothing on me. So sorry, don't follow me. I'm traveling the waters, my daughter. I skip like the stars. Please call my family. Tell them not to cry. Goodbyes are written by the moon in the sky. Nobody knows me. I got no reason to stay. So shiver me timbers. I'm sailing away.
Wow. Margoh, what an emotional song.
Yeah.
That's like yeah, thanks guys. I haven't watched that clip in so long. But that's from like 2012. But yeah, like
I was wondering, I might have videotaped that.
Oh,
you
wow.
may have. Yeah, you could have. Yeah, I probably hired you to videotape
Uh-huh.
at the time.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that was
no,
my video.
yeah, like that was like, so anyway, when I first started doing, because I'm not a trained vocalist, and I do my thing, and so I was lucky enough to meet Tom Fogarty, who was a great theater director and dancer, and he's the one that kind of steered me in the direction of doing these dirge style songs for my shows, and so and when I actually watch that back now, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm not that bad.
Very
I know. I always say to myself, "Oh God, people come to my shows and they're expecting cabaret and beautiful voices and that type of thing." But so it's always kind of been one of those, as RuPaul would say, one of those demons in my head that I say bad things about myself in my head. But now that I watch that back, I'm like, hey, that's really not that bad for someone.
It worked.
That has pitch problems like I do, but but yeah, Tom was the one who directed, like he literally directed me how to do that song, and that was the first thing we did together, and like we talked about before the show, that's kind of what the show has turned into, a bit of a tribute show to my director Tom, who passed away. So yeah, so that's been hard this past year because this was the first show I've written without him being around, and
right for a long time.
I'd always send him my scripts, and even if he wasn't the official director, he would still, go through with me and come up with ideas.
Trusted him, Margoh. That, when you lose someone that you have that kind of relationship with and you trust, and I didn't realize you were completely flying solo in terms of what you're going to do in this show. I think that's tough. How did it feel for you?
Yeah, it's different, because I've always, like, when I started out doing the drag Margoh in New York, it was me and Manny together, and then it was, Tom came in as a director, and Tom was the one that kind of steered me to hire Tracy Stark as my musical director.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. That's the other thing too. I worked with in that clip Jared Aston, who was an amazing musician, and he had a band called the Dirty Boogaloo, but he wasn't like a cabaret player, so it wasn't a perfect fit for me at the time. And that was like kind of like the first thing Tom said was like, I love Jared, he's a great guy, but you guys are, he's just not supporting you the way you need to be supported at that time. You know what I mean? So that was the type of thing that Tom brought. So he was like, we need to find you a musical director that will, support what you're doing with, the way you sing and everything. So that's how we hired Tracy. And then that next year I got nominated for my MAC award.
Yeah.
So like, it just, you meet people, and how I met Tom was like that quintessential New York story. Manny and I were at a happy hour at Lapa Lapa on the West Side, 6th Avenue.
Of course.
And, and they were sitting there, him and his wife, Leslie, and actually Leslie and Lulu were coming to the show on the 18th.
Nice.
So I'm really happy about that, because like Leslie, Tom's wife is like my, I call them my New York parents, so, but like, that's how we met, at a happy hour. And Tom just happened to have a show card, and he was tapping it on the bar. And I said, are you in show business? I just asked, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm a dancer and I'm a director, and I'm directing my daughter Lulu in a show about Lillian Smith at Dixon Place. And he slipped the card to me and said, oh, you guys should come. So we went to the show, and then I had told him at the bar, I said, well, I'm a drag queen. I said, I'm starting to do these cabarets, and I've done a couple, but, I'm doing a new one. And would you interested in, maybe being my director? I was like, I never had a director before, and blah, blah, blah. And so, and then, so he came to one of my rehearsals and sat there, and, big old, and, I remember at the end of it, he said to me, he took my script. It was all red, he had red thing.
Yeah, red lines it.
All sorts of stuff. And I'm like, oh God, what is this? He's like, well, you got 2 backup singers, but they're not doing anything, And I'm like, well, they're singing when they're, and he's like, yeah, but you have them up on stage. They need to be doing something the whole time, like you can't just have them standing there, like that type of thing. So he was just an amazing like guy. Like he could like pick stuff up and like just take stuff I wrote and just add like a little thing here. Like we ended up with that Shiver Me Timbers. I didn't do it in this show, I don't know why, but pulling a white handkerchief out of my thing and going like this at the end of the song.
Yeah,
like,
I remember.
Surrendering or whatever. Wow. That was Tom, like he would just have these little nuances. Somebody that understood the nuances. Yeah, so I mean, and I try to think of that, and honestly it's funny, like I wrote the show, and then but I when I do, like now when I'm rehearsing and stuff, like I try to think about what Tom would tell me to do or what he might suggest. Yeah. And like that whole thing I just did in the beginning, like I know this is silly, I'm like revealing my secrets, but that like I thought I added that whole thing about Bianca Del Rio, like just thinking like her doing that sewing thing, like just because like, and I just in my mind I'm like, Tom would tell me to say that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so he's here. And honestly,
right.
The song I'm ending the show with, I'm not going to say what it is.
No, we want to be surprised.
It's a lip sync, but I had chosen one song. And after Tom passed away, I heard another song 3 times. Like when I was going to New York driving, I got in the car. I heard it on the way down to New York. I parked my car down in Connecticut to get on the train. When I came back, got into my car to drive home, heard the same song.
Wow.
On the radio.
That's very telling.
And then I got back up here, turned on the radio the following morning, and another song came on. So I was like, oh, this must be Tom telling me to finish this show with this song. So
yes.
I'm doing. So he'll be there with me. I know it, but
no, he will be. They're all in the cabaret room, Margoh. All of them.
I know they're
absolutely. Now you've suffered some losses this year, in addition to Tom, but we also lost Nick.
Yeah, we also lost our good friend Nick Lyon
and Zazu.
Yep. So my Zazie, my Zazu, my little Zazie.
There's
and it's been hard. It was hard because Manny and I had separated, so I moved back up to Rhode Island, so I didn't see her as much as I would have liked to, but such is life. But anyway, but she stayed with him because that he was her guy. You know what I mean? Like I was just the one that gave the belly rubs. You got
to spend some time with us at the end.
No, we did. No. Honestly, there's no ill will or anything. Like Jeff's been amazing. When I first moved back to Rhode Island after Jeff and I split up, I don't know if I would have made it because this picture is from her visiting me. Because he used to drop her off, and I used to keep her for like a few weeks at a time. And we had a dog run. We had a dog run at the apartment complex that I moved into up there and up here. And I'm not lying. Like I think if it weren't for her, I probably would have drank myself into a coma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm forever grateful for my Miss Zazu, but she lived a great life and then went on to have a great life with Jeff and Henry and out in God knows where. She went traveling all over the place and everything. So as long as she was well cared for, I don't care.
Sorry, I've got an angry driver outside, so I keep muting myself.
Oh,
he won't let up. He's just.
Mark, I want to give a shout out here. Rest in peace, Nick Lyon. I met you because of Nick Lyon.
Yes, you did. Yes.
His film Junk was premiering, and Nick gathered up everybody.
The picture of Nick too. These are all going to be on stage with me that night. Next week.
And I would not have met Margoh if it weren't for Nick. And he kept going on and on about Margoh Channing. You have to meet Margoh. And then you ended up performing at my birthday shortly after that. So it's amazing. Nick is still very much with all of us, I'm sure. And I noticed Rose Trentman tuned in today. She's very aware of it. When you do your performance here on April 18th, boy, we are going to be conjuring up some incredible stuff in the cabaret room here at Pangea.
We will. Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
We all are. So I have a question for you. And I want to bring this up because it's important. You went through a really, what I would consider an awful health thing that brought you very close to going to the other side yourself. And it was very scary. And I remember your posts from those days. How did you first of all, get your head back together again after experiencing that kind of thing?
So I've always had gastrointestinal problems my whole life. And that caught up with me in 2021 at the height of COVID. I had a colon perforation and it was weird. I had been in the hospital for a diverticulitis attack, which I've had before, which is from that. And they let me go. It was a Friday. That Saturday, I still, when you I didn't feel well. I usually when I would leave the hospital after one of these episodes, I would feel better, but I still didn't feel better. And I think that Saturday night, I think it perforated because I remember waking up in the middle of the night, it's all sweaty and gross and everything. So the next day I felt a little better. Monday, blah, blah, blah. I'm on the bathroom, too much information. Go to the bathroom. I had this massive diarrhea fit. And then all of a sudden, next thing I knew, I was on the floor, just writhing around.
It was very, very wrong. Yeah.
So I called 911. They came, I blah, 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 had the surgery. I woke up with a colostomy bag and a big gaping hole down the middle of my stomach. And the guy, was like, just want to let you know that, it was 70-30, he's like, if you didn't get here a couple more hours, he said, you probably would have died because you said you were so septic. Like I was like, so yeah. So yeah, and how you get through that? This is like, I think, denial. Like you're just like no, I just like I'd never had a medical event, never had surgery before. So I have that.
That was huge. I remember it.
Huge. Yeah, like it was like, oh my God. But you know what? I had great family support. My mother came up here all the time, and I had great support from the Visiting Nurses Association, the VNA, coming here three times a week, and all for me for 7 weeks. I mean, they were amazing, those women, and then I had a great support system with my day job. I like that really helped me a lot. My boss was like, "Oh, you shouldn't be working," and I'm like, "Listen, like I need to be doing something." So like I was literally. They let me work like 3 hours a day from my hospital bed when I was like just, doing like stuff, whatever. And then, yeah, so that's how I got through it. I just was like, okay, I don't want to die, so I got to get through this. And I just put blinders on and was like, I got to get better and get through this. And I did. So, and I was lucky. And I was lucky enough. I know some people aren't lucky enough, but I was lucky enough to be able to be like reconnected. And so I had a colostomy bag for like 8-7 months, and then I had a surgery to reconnect myself. So, but that took a lot of time to heal from. And that's actually kind of around the last times I did shows in New York, because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. So I came back.
But the thing is, you did do it. I was here at that show. Didn't you bring a colostomy bag with you?
Yeah, I filled them with chocolate candy, yes, and threw them.
So that was such a poignant moment. I had but you know what? Seeing you on that stage, and I'm sure, Tim, you agree, as a performer, going through that is like to be cut like that, to go through that, and then to come back, and then you were on the stage here at Pangea. You know what? It took a lot for you to do that. It did.
Yeah,
I can never minimize that,
It did, but I think that's what I think that's what gets you through, and you have to have things to look forward to. I mean, that's really what, whether it's like, something you like to do every week or something, like getting your nails done, or you like to go, to a movie every week or whatever. I think that's really, for me, the thing that gets me through, like, is just having things to look forward to. And I mean, I think, so then now I have had another medical crisis. So all my years of, overdoing it with the cocktails and everything, and medications, and being overweight, now my liver is not working 100%. So I am also now going through that. So I'm on the GLP-1s now. So I just lost like 30 pounds this past since Thanksgiving. Wow. But I quit. I didn't quit drinking. Okay, so I don't want to.
We're not holding you to
No. But listen, I want to be clear. Okay, like listen.
Baby steps.
Listen, I have been there. I've done it all. I am that type of person that was in my family room that I must have somehow in early life decided that I will try everything once. So that's why I have a daughter. I have 2 grandchildren. I have tried literally everything once.
Wait, I didn't know you had a daughter.
No, so I'm just saying, like, there must have been something in my life where I said, don't say no to anything. You know what I mean? Yep. So anyway, so life is life, and and I'm trying my best, and but no, I'm doing good. But anyway, so I got that news like 6 months ago or 8 months ago or whatever, and then so now I'm like back. So I've cut my drinking down to like 30%. I'm like, I'm only having cocktails when I'm like doing something or going somewhere, or maybe a party or a dinner or something. Like, I'm not drinking around the house anymore like I did during COVID, when I was like 2 big bottles of wine a day, type of thing. And like we were all doing, or not you, Tim, I know you weren't doing that, but you know what I mean. So anyway,
I did a lot. Yeah.
So like, hey, but I look at it this way. I've had a great life. I've had a lot of fun. There's been a lot of disappointments and a lot of things I would have wished I could have done and maybe partying may have gotten in the way sometimes, or maybe sometimes not. But you know what? At least I was doing it.
Absolutely.
You know what? You live.
Absolutely.
You are living. You're living your life. That's what.
And when you were mentioning about things that you enjoy doing, like getting your nails done or this or that, a few years ago, and I think it was during the pandemic, that Ike and I had a show up there, and we came up and stayed with you, which was really so sweet of you to invite us to stay with you. That was so much fun. And you and I, one afternoon, you and I went to the beach.
Yes, we did.
That beach there that was so nice. Yeah. And I remember you saying that that's something that you just really enjoy, that you
great.
Just no, I love being in the water and by the ocean, and I was lucky enough to buy this little house when I moved back up here, which is like 5 minutes from the water, and we have a little town beach, Oakland Beach, down here. So anytime you guys want to come and visit, I got 2 guest rooms.
You told me I'm planning it. I totally want to come up, and I love that you're welcomable to the beach. So with this show happening on the 18th, and you and I had talked a little bit about opportunities for you in Rhode Island. Tell me what you're thinking. What do you think is next for Margoh?
Like I said, I think I'm going to focus on trying to do some online, things like you do, like a podcast or something. I have a lot of interests that are outside of drag, which I think would be hysterical to bring into drag. I love figure skating. I'm obsessed with figure skating, and I've become friendly with a few figure skaters that were my favorites, like Nicole Boback, who's also a wacko.
You know Nicole Boback?
Yes, I know Nicole. We talk every day on Instagram, and this is the thing, and I've always been, the Margoh character is not who Bill Shea is. I'm very shy. I'm not I do not talk a lot. If I'm in a crowd, I have social anxiety. I don't like being in big crowds of people. And that stems from when I was little, and I was that little kid and scared and lonely and didn't have a lot of friends. I was always thinking I wasn't saying the right things or doing the right things. Right. And I still kind of carry that kind of thing with me in my head. And that's depression and anxiety and all that stuff. So anyway, but there are certain things that I absolutely adore, like figure skating. I loved it since I was a little kid. And so one day I was I saw Nicole was on Instagram, and she had posted, and about how she was thinking about, because she kind of has gone away from figure skating for a long time, and she joined the circus, for God's sake. But anyway, but I love when I'm down in the dumps, and I'm not. There's 2 things that I go and watch. Number one is Rudy Galindo winning his nationals in the 90s in San Jose.
I remember
it's literally, if you are feeling bad, go watch that Rudy Galindo performance at the end, where the crowd, the roar, it's amazing.
You got absolute chills. And I have to tell you, I'm sure the Olympics this year really did it for you. Those skaters this year, it was so intense.
But so anyway, the Nicole thing. So one day I was I just posted on her page. I said, Nicole, I said, I miss your spiral. I wish, and I told her, I just said, I said, when I'm down in the dumps, I go and watch some of your skating videos when you did these great performances. And I said, I just love your skating. And then we just started inboxing each other back and forth. And then, I send her memes every day and back and forth. And we haven't never met in person yet, and I told her, I said, we got to meet one day. But, she's just fun. And and then I did the same thing with Rudy. I sent him a message. Amazing. So now we follow each other on Instagram, and I've sent him a couple of messages. But it's just and it's I just felt sometimes you think, oh, I'm not going to bother these people. They don't want to hear from me or whatever. But they might be needing it too. Because especially with skating, it's one of those things where you're big for a 4 or 5 year period, and then and then it's over, for a lot of them. And I think and you can't do the triple jumps like you used to do and stuff. So I think sometimes they feel oh, nobody cares. But anyway, you know what I mean. So you
need to follow Johnny Weir. He's hilarious.
I actually met I met Johnny,
and I love Johnny Weir.
Well, no, when I was with Spin Cycle for a while back in the day, and I was getting invited to all those book release parties, so I got invited to his book release party. And then I met Dick Button that night was there, who I love.
I'm really impressed. This is like you're rolling these skating names off of your tongue.
I know, and I'm like, but these are the things. So I was just like, oh, I wonder how I can parlay drag into figure skating somehow. Like, you know, like, and I know there are a couple of, I think Denali is a figure skater.
Well, Johnny Weir is kind of close, but
yeah, like there are
his outfits,
and I think, is it Milk? I think Milk's also a figure skater. Got Mick or whatever. I think also figure skates. But anyway, I was just thinking like, oh, you know, it would be funny maybe to do like a drag queen, like, you know, figure skating thing. I don't know. So that's one thing I'm thinking about doing. And then,
right.
You know, podcast. But then the next thing I'm going to go and focus on is bringing back my Judy Garland like special show. Yes. And yeah, so
I would love to see it.
Show.
Yeah, I did it, that show is more lip sync, and then the way I've built it is to be like a variety show. So like I would ask Dorothy to come and do a song, do one of her great Judy Garland number there, and maybe have Tim come sing a song. So it would be it's like a variety type setup. So I would like to bring
like
that
Judy's variety hour.
Yeah, because I only lip sync to Judy. So and it's kind of it brings me so much joy to lip sync her song. So you know, and I want to be in that joy all the time. You know, like to be honest with you, doing the cabarets I love, but it brings a lot of like what do you call it to me, like anxiety, you know, like because it's a cabaret, and I don't know, I've always looked at cabaret shows as being like, for me it's like the creme de la creme. Like I would we went to go see what do you call it, Lady Gaga a couple weeks ago, and I love Gaga. She was amazing. I love it, but there's nothing more better to me than going and sitting in a room with like 50, 60 people and seeing someone up close.
Yeah, it's intimate. Yeah,
it's different. Like I've seen Eartha Kitt, perform at Cafe Carlisle with like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, it's just this whole, or at Joe's Pub or wherever, like, and like for me, like that, to me, that's like, the height, and I get I put a lot of pressure on myself to do a good show, and but with the Judy thing, it's just more natural for me, so I don't get as like crazy.
So the Judy is more of a comfort zone for you.
Yeah, and the singing, like, and because I love to sing, and like when I belted in my family room when I was a kid, I knew that's what I always wanted to do.
It brings you close.
But when you got the pitch problems I got, it's not the easiest path to take. So but like I said, I put this team of amazing people together that were able to get me to live this dream. And in this show, I just want to say I'm doing a song that I've always wanted to do. It's a really hard song for me to do, but I'm doing it anyway. It's
good.
It's Both Sides Now by Joni Mitchell.
I love it.
I've always wanted to do that song, and I've always stayed away from it because I just look at because Joni's so ethereal and has that beautiful voice, and but I'm like, fuck it, I'm singing it.
Margoh, you know what? Speaking of all the support and friends and teamwork that you've been involved in, we have a bunch of comments for you today.
Well, firstly, I just have one thing I wanted to ask as well. Your name. You had selected the name Margoh Channing, which is
where it came from.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's Betty Davis.
Do we have time?
All About
Me.
Over?
Yeah.
My first drag name was Connie Constantino.
Oh,
And when I ran for Miss Gay Rhode Island, my friend said to me, "Oh, that name is so boring." I'm like, and so we played around with stuff. Like I was going to call myself CC Channing, and I came up with all these names because I didn't have the boozy thing back then. It wasn't part of my thing. So I didn't, so Margoh Channing, like the boozy chanteuse. But anyway, I came home that night after trying to figure out a name. I turned on Turner Classic Movies, and All About Eve was on, and I'm like, that's going to be my name, Margoh Channing. I am a bitch, because that's what someone called me. See, the funny thing was that I was trying to promote the pageant, so I made these cards and I was handing them out to people to try to come to the pageant. But one of the other drag queens thought that was me trying to grow favoritism with judges and stuff, but it wasn't. It was me trying to get people to come because it was for fucking charity, right? So trying to get people to come. So when I was leaving the club that night, the girl goes, "Ah, that one's a bitch," like that. And I heard her say it. So when I got home that night, I go, Margoh Channing is a bitch, and that's who I want to be.
Go.
So
and
I added the OH exclamation point. So it's
which is great. I mean, that's an eye catcher,
so
right?
It's just be like Margoh, you know. But,
Well, Margoh, we had a bunch of people tune in today. First, we have Suze, who we love. Suze, we gave you a shout out about the wonderful accessories that you donated to Margoh's show. And then we had Mamo Cabrera on here. Hi, Mamo Cabrera. Rose Trentman, hello, my dear friends. Sending you a big hug. She loves your starfish there because you're a star. She said.
Yeah,
it's pulled from my daddy's salty.
The enchanting Channing hour. I love that.
I know how to talk, don't I, kids? I think we could do 2 hours.
And she wants you to remember to say your daily mantra, Margoh.
Yes.
Yeah, Rose gave you
yes, I have been, yes.
A mantra. Oh, Jason King, my God, I haven't seen you in ages. Hey, kiddos, I always loved you both. You've always been so kind to me. Love your podcast. Love you, Jason. Thank you for tuning in.
I grabbed, actually, my father, Salty, was killed by a school of starfish, and this is one of the starfish I pulled right off his mouth. Of course,
there's a story.
Actually, in one of your shows, I played.
Yes, you did play
Daddy Salty.
You did.
And Richard Skipper says, I cannot believe that Nick Lyon is gone.
I know, Richard, we can't either. Yeah. And Suze, love Nick Lyon. Yeah, I love invoking Nick's name today.
Suze, Oh, Richard Skipper. Oh, we love Richard. Him and his Carol.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. So great.
And Suze, you're the best, Margoh Channing. Thank you, Suze, for tuning in. And Benji Bradshaw. Margoh, I don't know if you're familiar with Benji. Incredible singer, like so much style. Benji is all over too. I know Benji's got a show coming up, I think, in Brooklyn. I got something today.
Oh, awesome.
Great seeing all you beautiful people. Thank you, beautiful Benji, always for tuning in and supporting us. We support you.
I love Gladiola. I love Gladiola.
Says hi.
I love Gladiola.
We love you, Gladiola.
And thank you. We love everybody that tuned in today. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks
for
having
me. And we love Margoh Channing.
Yes, please. Sorry.
I was just saying, and we love Margoh Channing.
And I love you guys too. And please, if you're in New York City, April 18th, 7 p.m. at Pangea, come see Margoh Channing is oversharing.
She is. Now, Tim, I want to give you a reminder. If we take the picture now, it'll come out really clear. We've been having to take our picture when we're on air.
So everybody can watch us.
Everyone can watch us do our magic.
Ready? In 3, 2, 1. And as soon as the preview moves out, we will take one more with Margoh Channing and her starfish. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Yay.
Cool. Margoh, thank you. I'm looking forward. I love being able to say we're going to see you in the flesh soon.
Yes,
April 18th, 7 p.m. at Pangea. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today, too. This was great.
Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Love you too.
Anytime you want me on, call me.
You know,
all right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.